sports. I will be brutally honest. Ain't nothing but being brutally honest. Coming at you with another video.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 49ersCast. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Where can they find you on social media platform?
49ersCast, IG, man. That's probably my most popular one. I do a little Twitter here and there, but, 49ersCast. I mean, same thing with YouTube as well. I haven't built it up that much, but I will be here pretty soon. So, just getting used to all the platforms and filming and streaming and stuff. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, it sure will, man. It takes time, but as soon as you get your channel launch off, it's going to blow up at some point. That's just a matter of timing, like they say.
Yeah, that's how it was with the IG thing. I actually started my IG thing just as a joke. Like, I was bored and I was like, you know what, man, I need a place to vent, stuff to post my own opinions and like blah, 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 blah. So, and it just kind of, took off from there. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, you got like 14. You got like 14,000 followers there. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think I'm up to 18 now, but I'm
18.
Right. I'm trying to hit that 20. Trying to hit that 20 before the season starts.
Yeah, that's good to know, man. But
yeah,
especially there's a quiet off season right now since there's a lot of all this workout stuff. That's all we're seeing, workout stuff, even though there's no training camp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, workout. Debo news, obviously the Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo stuff, all that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying, is definitely, everybody's going to bite at that, especially with 49er fans and people like us that like to report stuff is, we need something, and we're always going to do something to post and get opinions going and things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, the only people that know this is Shanahan and Lynch, obviously. I mean, you hear everybody about source this and source that and source this. You don't know what to believe. But, at the same time, everybody's just trying to catch a story and trying to get some attention, Depends how you want to get it, though. You know what I mean? I try to post as many facts as possible without, any BS or trying to make up stuff or anything like that. I just try to find the best source and the most somebody that's credible and just say, hey, this is what they said has been being said, things like that. But, we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of all this Trey Lance topic, I mean, this is the one that kind of gets my attention as of recently, like a while ago. Like it was probably like weeks ago or something, but this is what gets my attention right now. Do you really feel that Colin Cowherd is bitter by Trey Lance because of what happened with him dumping his daughter like a year ago?
I mean, again, I don't know the whole story behind that. I did do some research and there was a lot of things that said, it was never really confirmed that they were seeing each other. I think she made a comment on one of his IG posts or something like that, and they followed each other or something like that. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Colin Cowherd, he's a professional. I mean, I don't see his personal life getting involved. I think he calls it as it is. And the thing with people like him, I mean, they're great. They're good people. They're entertaining. That's why they make a lot of money. A lot of these guys are entertaining and they spit out speculation. They have the background. And so, when they say things, that's what they get paid to do. They got to tell a story. If they don't, then they don't get paid, so it's just like us, like me, like if I don't post, people are disinterested, I get paid on Instagram. So, that starts to go away. So, everybody's going to try to come up with a story and be controversial so people can hear them. But I don't personally think it's anything personal. I think that's just how he feels.
I mean, I just feel like the moment that last year he was praising about him being one of the better quarterbacks that he's seen in the draft. Now he's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of flipped the 180 around. So I'm like, what's changed this tune? Then I find out
Yeah.
about something about him dating his daughter and something like that. I don't know what was going on. I'm thinking maybe that's what it was. I don't know, because it for Colin Cowherd to change tunes, it would take a lot for this.
Well, the thing is, though, is a lot of these people they actually have sources, but they don't put it out there. Like Colin Cowherd's not going to say, "Hey, you know, Rick Scarangelo, I heard." Like he's not going to do that because those sources won't be his source anymore. So there's a lot of secrecy, there's a lot of protection. So, there's a lot of things that I post where I have a source that's credible, and I will never put down that person's name because it's not right. You just go out there, you get information. If it's credible, you're like, cool, I'm gonna post it. Same with Colin. He's gonna hear something, but he's not putting people's names out there. He's just gonna be like, hey, he's gonna make it sound like it's his, and I'm not saying everything, a lot of it's his own opinions and things like that, but he's gonna make it sound like it's just his way of thinking without saying, well, I have a source. And then people are gonna be like, well, who's your source? It's like everybody wants a source. So I think a lot of it, he probably might have heard some stuff from his credible sources, and he's just, out there, just kind of stating an opinion, you know.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different sources, but I'm hearing that the sources that they might have got from is Rich Gangarilla. That was pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
the only. That's what I'm hearing about. That's all it is. Like, oh, Rich Gangarilla said this about Trey,
Yeah, yeah.
and if you believe what an ex quarterbacks coach was saying, then I guess that's where they take the sources from. I'm assuming.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people were saying, that's where it came from. Now, who knows? I don't know, and things like that. Like when it comes to those kind of things, I really don't try to focus too much on. I mean, I'm going to post about it and I'm going to say, hey, this is what's said, but I'm kind of a show me guy. Like, I don't speculate too much. I'm just kind of like, hey, man, whatever happens, happens, I've wanted Trey Lance. I felt Trey Lance out of the 3 QBs or 4 QBs that were coming out of that draft class in 2020. I felt, in my podcast in 2020, I even in December, even before the 49ers traded up, I talked about how, eventually the Niners need to move on from Garoppolo and they gotta find a way to get a quarterback. And I said I really liked Trey Lance. If they were to get somebody, I felt Trey Lance was going to fit right in that system. And especially how I feel how Shanahan is he's, Shanahan, he's kind of like a control guy. He kind of wants somebody that's like super green, doesn't have a lot of, he wants to be able to fill this guy's head with everything that he needs. And, when you come out of college and you're 3 years, like a lot of that stuff's hard to forget. And I think, Shanahan wanted somebody that was really super green. So, like I said, with Trey Lance and everything going on, I just think, hey man, just when it's time to play, bro, it's your time. Got to go out there, man. You got, I have no doubt they're going to be a good team with him. And everybody talks about the big game and Garoppolo not sealing the deal and things like that. It is what it is. Can't win, but I think at the end of the day, Shanahan's going to have to go out there and also show that he can trust Trey. He can't do that whole trust thing that he did with Jimmy Garoppolo because that was really trash. And I think it really, took away a lot of steam, because there was games where Shanahan was, super like on the gas last season. He fourth downs, he was going for it, things like that. And then we get into these playoff games and there's things that you're like, what are you doing, bro? Like it's the NFC Championship, 4th and 1, just go for it. Like, you got nothing to lose. So
Yeah, that's just the problem right there. But what's kind of a interesting part about this is like everybody's kind of assuming that Shanahan was forced to draft Trey Lance. Do you really feel in some way that he wanted Mac Jones, or do you feel like he just wanted Trey Lance the whole time?
well, I think as far as Shanahan, from what I gather, he's the one in charge of the quarterbacks. Like Lynch, that's what they said. Lynch has said, hey, as far as quarterbacks, that's Shanahan. I don't know why. I personally don't see why Lynch would even have any kind of say in quarterbacks, even though he's the GM. I personally think he would say like, hey, I really like this guy, but hey, man, whatever you feel is going to work. And so I believe Lynch, Lynch wanted, or not Lynch, Shanahan. I'm sorry, Shanahan wanted Trey. I don't see why he wouldn't. If he, the way I see it is, if I don't see. There's got to be a problem with the coaching if I feel he was forced to get somebody. If you're a head coach, man, and you want, especially a quarterback, and you're an offensive coordinator, that's your job to do and get that QB, the guy that you want to help run it. I wouldn't want to be a head coach and feel forced into getting a certain player that I'm like, hey, this is my shit, this is my part of the ship. Like, why are you trying to make me get somebody that I don't really want? Then there's some kind of internal problem. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Which,
there could be internal problems right there, but
mhm.
this is what I've been hearing from the sources and all the other stuff, that it was because the front office voted against Shanahan's pick, and then I guess Lynch wanted Trey Lance, and then I guess they kind of convinced him to check out some workouts, and I think maybe, like you said, maybe Shanahan fell in love with Trey's game a little bit. Maybe that's what stood out. Maybe the last second nobody didn't see it coming, and then that's the best surprising part. It was one of the
Yeah.
best draft by far. Like, nobody didn't know who we were going to draft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's, all this, all the front office stuff and what they decided to pick and things like that is obviously way beyond our scope. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, cool. If that happens, that happens. I mean, if Trey ends up not being the QB that, everybody thought he was going to be. I mean, because a lot of it was just like the whole Jim Harbaugh era. They didn't want Colin Kaepernick. York didn't want Colin Kaepernick, and I know they were really trying to get Peyton Manning before he went to the Broncos, and they actually set up a secret meeting with Harbaugh and Manning, and they were talking to like York was like, "Hey man, we want Manning, dude," and Harbaugh, Cap was Harbaugh's pick, man. That's who we wanted, and that's what really ultimately started that whole feud, which a lot of people don't realize is, it was just getting, Balky was in the way, and it's just got crazy. I think this one, I think they're pretty solid with each other. I think Lynch and I think Shanahan are pretty solid. I personally think they just kind of let each other kind of do what they need to do. Like this is, I think there's a lot of respect in that organization. And what I tell a lot of people is I actually think there's too much respect in that organization. And when I say that, meaning, I've never seen Jimmy in the ear of Shanahan, on the sidelines. I've never seen him, I don't know. Do you remember the 93 season? I don't know if you were.
I was like maybe like a kid, son, but
Okay. Okay. Well, that season, that was the year the 49ers won their last Super Bowl. And what turned things around for that team, not only signing Deion Sanders, but was the respect. I mean, the players have respect for Jimmy G, but it was different. It was different. Like same with Steve Young. There was a lot of players that were kind of like, all right, we like Steve Young. He's a good guy, whatever. But that season, the Niners went 14-2. One of the games they lost, it was against the Eagles, and it was like 40. I think we lost like 40-8 or something. It was something ridiculous. And Seifert pulled Steve Young out, was just kind of like, all right, man, you're done. And, Steve was pissed. Like, he's like, why are you pulling me out? Like, why are you only pulling me out? Why don't you go pull out, J.J. Stokes? Go pull this out. And he's yelling at him. Go back and look at it. It's called America's Game, the 49ers. Go
94
watch it.
Niners, yeah. It was a 94
Yeah.
Niners.
Well, it was 93-94, right?
No, it was 94 95. That's
94.
when.
Okay. I get that mixed up all the time. I always think it's 93-94. But anyways, so they yelling at him, yelling at Seifert on the sideline, like he was hot, like he was like, hey, and it was such a great, it gave me, I remember watching that, and I remember watching that game, and I'm like, dude, he is pissed. And I actually thought, because I was, probably, how old was I? I was 20, 19. And I remember thinking, oh my God, Steve Young's going to get fired. Like, because I
He
knew
wanted to
football,
punch
man.
him.
Yeah. So I wish I would have seen that out of Garoppolo, because, and that's where I always tell people, I think there's too much respect in that organization where you can respect somebody, but you also need to know that your voice can be heard. And I know the 49ers like to keep things really, really things under wraps. Like, obviously Shanahan's the coach, and you have seen him, bust Garoppolo on the sideline. He gets all, flustered and jumps in the air, things like that. But I just believe that players have to be allowed to do that too, because it's you got to have that. It's like baseball when a manager goes out and starts arguing with the umpire and gets kicked out. He does it to fire the team up. He does it to fire the crowd up. That's what they do. That's why a lot of times they do that, regardless of an ejection. They're out there, trying to get the team pumped up, seeing what's going on. But that's one of my major things with that whole situation.
Yeah, it seems like it. But It becomes an issue when they don't have, like, when those coaches go through that with certain players like that. But I feel like this organization likes to be respectful and equal. They don't like to start like, a lot of stuff. Like you said, it's true. Like, it seems like they're too friendly with each other. Why not just be realistic at each other? Come on, like, come up with a good situation. Say, hey, why'd you pull me off the side, or why'd you put this guy over me? I don't get it.
Well,
Like that. Yeah.
well, not so much that, not so much pulling players. It's, Steve Young got pulled because, George Seifert was like, hey, I've never been in this position before. I didn't want him to get hurt. He was getting beat up. I get it. Steve Young was just being Steve Young. But when I say a lot of things like that, I mean more kind of like, okay, the 2019 Super Bowl, we get the ball, we get a stop, we get the ball just before halftime. I think there's like a minute and like 30 seconds left, and Shanahan is just watching this clock dwindle down before he calls timeout. In my head watching that, I'm like, Jimmy, get up. Even your coach is here and be like, Coach, give me some time to get the ball downfield. And it's really huge, man, because, I played a high level of football. I played pro ball. And you know what, man, I played with coaches like that I've had to be like, hey, like, let's go. I'm not telling you how to do your job. I'm saying I want to get out there and play and give us the best ability to win this game. And that's what a lot of people think is they're like, why is the player trying to tell the coach how to do his job? It's like, he's not. The player wants to get out there and play. He doesn't want to sit at the sideline, because every second that passes is an opportunity that you're missing. So in what happened, he let that clock go down. The Kittle pass and absolutely didn't really work the way it was supposed to. Now you don't have any time left. And then you go into halftime, and then you come back out of halftime deflated with the ball, and you go 3 and out. So a lot of people don't realize that stuff, that it affects the team. It affects the minds of players, man. Like, it's like, dude, was coach not believing us? Like, what's going on? And that's, to me, it's like, that's what I really wish Jimmy would have stepped up at certain points and said, like, Coach, like, we need to get out there. Let's go. Give me some time.
He seems like a yes man. If anything else, like, he'll do exactly what his coach tells him, and he doesn't want to let it be an issue along the way. It seems like he just does what he does. But let's say if this happens, which I don't know, like, let's say if Jimmy stays, does it divide the locker room or benefit the 49ers?
Well, when you say benefit the 49ers, I mean, there's a couple different things. I mean, Lynch did say they can carry their salary. Now, there's a lot of people out there that think Jimmy's contract is holding up the Debo thing. It absolutely isn't. Has nothing to do with Debo. I wish people would, everything's Jimmy's fault right now, so it doesn't even matter. But you can't argue with those people. But Jimmy's too much of a professional. That team is too much. Like we just talked about, there's a lot of respect in that organization. And with Jimmy coming back, or if he does come back, I don't see why it wouldn't benefit. Even if he doesn't start, I personally think he won't be there. I love Jimmy G, but I started looking at everything, things like that. I'm just like, you know what? Ultimately, I think he's just going to get cut. I mean, you eventually have to. They're trying to do right by him. They're trying to hopefully get him in a good situation. But I think at the end of the day, there's a lot of people that, a lot of things. One of the thing that's mainly holding the Jimmy thing back, not just the shoulder surgery, but is his contract. And a lot of people think like, well, nobody wants him because he sucks. It's like, bro, that's like $25 million right there. Like, they're just going to wait till he gets cut, and then somebody will sign him for maybe 5 or 6. So but I don't see why it would divide the locker room whatsoever. I mean, if anything, the fans are more divided than anything. But I think it would divide the fans more as far as the locker room, man. People love Jimmy, man. It's just like Nick Mullins. When Nick Mullins came into play, people loved him. The players loved him. Sanu was doing his whole little, remember the little golf thing? Or no, he'd pick up the pylon or something like that every time they'd score a touchdown. So, I mean, these guys are professionals, man. They don't, things like that don't. The only thing that divides a locker room is people like, Antonio Brown, things like that with a bad toxicity on them, bringing Jimmy in, and, none of these players are going to say like, oh man, I wish we had Jimmy back in, and like this and that. It's this whole situation though, if you think about it though, it's just like any given Sunday.
Yeah, I think in some ways, some people may look at it as a dividing, which it could be, because they can say, oh, you should have just played Jimmy. But like you said, the way I look at it, if you do keep Jimmy, it does benefit the team, because let's say whatever happens, injuries happen. So it's very important to have a quarterback position in case something happens. So
Yeah.
if you look at the Rams, if they had an injury at quarterback, I think their season's already done. You look at the Cardinals, season's a wrap unless McCoy is some miracle. But you look at the rest. Seattle, who cares about their quarterbacks? They're rebuilding. So it's like,
Yeah.
But you look at the rest of the league, there's teams that have viable backups that can step in. So that's why I feel it might benefit the Niners if we were. But then I would think taking a pay cut on his part would be nice. But like realistically, if I were to buy or sell on Jimmy Garoppolo staying on the 49ers roster come week 1, I feel like there is a possibility we could sell because I think we're looking to move on. We don't want to have this guy be the backup or be in some perspective. I think he wants to be a starter elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, he wants to make his money. That the $25 million is a lot of money. And he wants to make that. I mean, a lot of people, and like I said, a lot of people were talking about, he screwed the team over by getting his shoulder surgery. He waited, didn't, and it's like, look, man, he's not obligated to tell anybody about anything. And what a lot of people don't realize is he got that surgery because he got it at that time because he's back now. Because if he waited any longer, he's only screwing himself over because he still has a chance to make his contract money. So he got that surgery as soon as possible. It had nothing to do with trading. He wouldn't have passed the physical anyways, things like that, unless some team was really going to bank on him, which I don't think so when you're, having shoulder surgery and you're at $25 million. But, that was a lot of that speculation. I was like, that is the lamest thing I've ever heard. But yeah, for sure. I mean, I think ultimately they'll if they can't find him something, they're going to just cut him. I think they'll just say, hey man, we tried and it ain't going to work, man.
Yeah, that's just what goes on. But we're trying to look to get a trade value out of this guy, and we're kind of like becoming like used car salesmen, like a lemon car. We're trying to sell something that's not working good. Like, hey, you can get this guy. We're trying to overvalue him a little bit, which I understand. But hey, huge shout out to Corey Davis, 49ersCast. If he was a GM of the 49ers and Jimmy came to you and you said take a pay cut to be Trey's backup, would you keep him?
Of course. I mean, of course you would. I mean, now it's not just he's not just going to come and say, hey, I'm just going to take a pay cut and I'll just be a backup. That's not what's going to happen. Now, if Jimmy G said, like, if he came and said, hey, hey, John, hey, Shanahan, like, I really want to be on the team and I really want it to make it work. I want to go out there and compete, give me a shot. If I can be a starting quarterback, if I can compete and beat Trey out, I want my $25 million. If not, I'll be glad to restructure or take a pay cut down to, 10. That's something that I would be like, hey, this guy wants to play. He wants to play. He wants to go out there and compete. And why not? I think the best thing for Trey is competition, Jimmy knows that offense very well. The only thing is the thing that I thought about the competition thing is Shanahan ready to change his offensive scheme because of Trey Lance? So that might be a little bit different for Jimmy as well, coming in, and that could kind of hinder the whole thing, but I'm not on that element when it comes to that kind of coaching stuff, what they're doing. But I mean, if he came to, if I was a GM, heck yeah, I'd take Jimmy on a pay cut. If he said, like, hey, if I'm not picked to be the starter, like, I will take a pay cut to be on this team now.
Yeah, if he wants to take a pay cut, then, I find it more viable for him to be either as a backup because, one, there's a lot of teams that have a quarterback injury and it's over for them. So you have to look at it as a positive side. Yeah, we may not like what Jimmy is. He doesn't put the flashy numbers. He wins more games if he's healthy. That's the only reason why we drafted Trey Lance was because Jimmy can't stay healthy. If Jimmy were to stay a lot healthy and the way he was playing before, I don't think this would have been been the case with Trey Lance. I think they would have been more fine with who they got. But it's just like the previous seasons when Jimmy was playing for us, he missed significant time, missed the season, and we had to rely on other backup quarterbacks. And we only had 8 wins and terrible record overall. So it's like I feel like that's the only concern factor of why they did that, because they want to have a quarterback they can build this offense around, and they don't have to worry about the injury issues. Maybe that's what they're hoping for, that Trey can stay healthy and Trey could take this offense to the next level. But I feel like this offense is still going to be the same. We're still going to probably run the ball. We're still going to probably every now and then throw the ball when it's necessary.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's one of the things I'm probably most excited about is I want to see, if Shanahan, changes, because I know last season he talked about like, hey man, I'm not a 60-yard throw coach, and that's the other thing is what I really want to see is, was Jimmy G hindering Shanahan, or is was Shanahan hindering Jimmy G? And like I want to see what's going on to this next level, because my biggest question on the 49ers is still Shanahan, no doubt, still Shanahan. I still have concerns of him. I love the players, and we have a championship team. I can guarantee if you put Andy Reid on that team right now, we would win a championship. And like I said, I don't hate anybody. I love the team, but I just, I've played with coaches like him before that are great in the regular season. They come playoff time, everything changes, and you're like, what's going on? And so that's kind of my biggest thing is Shanahan right now, and he needs to, if once again I'm gonna do it like I said last season, if he can get into the playoffs this year, I'll support him. I'll keep supporting him, because he has no excuse to not get into the playoffs besides, let's say, major injuries, to Trey. Let's say Trey goes down for the season, okay, but then there's also a problem. Why are your players going down? So, but if you did see this season, Shanahan has, practice is coming up, so. But even OTAs and things like that, he definitely gave the team a break. I think he cut one of the days out. I was reading an article about how, Shanahan needs to change some of this stuff that he's doing. I think he's practicing his guys too hard. So we're definitely going to see what's going on, come practice time. I'm trying to get to the practice on Saturday, July 30th. I'm going to try to see if I'm going to try to get in there midnight and try to get some tickets online. So on the 18th. So I want to definitely go out and see that.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be exciting. But here's another buy or sell. Brandon Ayuk will have a better season than Deebo Samuel. Here's why I would put this argument into it. The chemistry, him and Trey are working out together. They're putting on some work during, there's a lot of viral videos of them working out together, and I'm feeling they got a good thing going on. And anytime Trey Lance's name is mentioned, Brandon Ayuk has a good smile out of it. I don't know why. He seems to like Trey more.
Well, I think, it's like I said before, these guys are professionals, man. They don't have, unless somebody did something dirty to them, that's a different story. But a lot of these guys, man, they get on that field and it doesn't matter who's out there, it's everybody. You are going to have a favorite target, but at the same time, you are going to gel. You're going to be able to read each other's minds. But a lot of it, they have the same trainer. They're working out together. I'm sure Deebo, I don't know what's going on with him, but Brandon Ayuk can easily be a wide receiver one. I like Brandon Ayuk. I like everybody on the team, but I definitely want to see, a scary, receiver that people are going to get out there and be like, holy shit, this guy's getting on me, so I'm definitely buying, I'm definitely going to buy Brandon Ayuk. Will probably have a better season than Deebo, not because of the Trey Lance thing or whatever. I just think the scheme will be a little bit different.
I feel like he's going to get more of the deep passes, which is something that Brandon Ayuk enjoys doing, and that will open up opportunities. And plus, the previous season, I feel like at times Jimmy doesn't even trust Brandon Ayuk at times, and maybe that's why he's trying to build a chemistry with Trey, because he wants to get that trust from him. But I feel like he will break out, and that's going to be the surprising factor. But here's an interesting one I'm going to put into. There's another guy that people are sleeping on, and I feel like somebody needs to give this guy his respect. But I'm gonna put it as the guy, one sleeper. I've always talked about this guy, and I don't know if you're going to buy into it or sell into it, but I feel like he's going to break out this year, and he's definitely somebody they got to take serious, man. This guy's coming into his own, and he definitely did it through the second half of the season. And it's definitely somebody that you should be aware of. This guy, I said it last year about him, and nobody took me seriously about him. And I said, don't sleep on this guy. This guy's going to surprise you guys. And I felt like he was a lot better than the other guy. But here's another one. Buy or sell. Juwan Jennings is going to break out in 2022.
I like Juwan Jennings. I've always liked Juwan Jennings since we picked him up. I've always was a big Juwan Jennings fan. I couldn't wait to see him. I love him, and and definitely. I mean, when you say breakout, I mean, is he going to have wide receiver one numbers? I don't know. I mean, maybe he
Number
does,
three numbers.
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I mean, number three, definitely. I think he's going to be a big factor. Um, big bodied guy, man. I mean, and just the ability to get open, things like that. It did. Was it him? Was it him when Debo threw the touchdown against the Rams? Was it to Juwan
Yeah,
Jennings?
that was him.
Dude, and I thought, man, I was watching, and I'll tell you what, when that play happened, um, it was in slow motion. I thought he was going to drop it. I was like, oh my god, because I'm like, this would exactly happen because we're playing the Rams, but. And the one guy, I think he said, Corey Davis said, I played football. Yeah, I did play football. I played college. I played, pro AFL. I was a linebacker, came in as tight end, so. But, yeah, I love Juwan Jennings, man. That's, he was like I loved not Dante Pettis, but, what's the dude's name? The guy with the ACL,
Which one?
He could never get healthy.
You're talking about Jalen Hurd.
Yeah, Jalen Hurd. Yeah, I was a huge Jalen Hurd fan too. I was constantly, pumping him up every season. Comes, ACL. Okay, Jalen Hurd season. Let's go. And and then Juwan Jennings comes in, and then it's obviously clear Hurd's not playing, and then I really was, going for Juwan Jennings. I know he had kind of a little setback, but I think he's gonna break out, and you have to understand, especially Ayuk, man, he's working because it's his money season coming up. Same with Juwan Jennings. It's going to be his money season coming up. So these guys got to work. They want to get paid, man.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's what I feel like. Like last year, everybody was giving me a hard time with why are you getting so hard on Jalen Hurd? Because I said I'm sick of this guy missing time. I'm pretty sure, like when he came in as a rookie, I was very high on him during that preseason game. But I just got so fed up with this guy. Like, I want to see this guy play for once. I don't want to see this guy sitting on the sidelines missing significant season. And then everybody's like saying, oh, I don't think Juwan Jennings is going to make it. He's too slow. He can't do this. And then as soon as they came into the season, everybody was kind of like having their doubts on him and say, he won't make the roster. He'll get cut. And I'm like, trust me, he'll make the team.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah. I wasn't concerned about him. I knew he was fine. I know he would have been fine.
Yeah. Oh, here, huge shout out to my boy 49ers Ultimate Report. You should definitely get him on your. You guys should definitely collaborate at some point, man. This guy puts on some solid content.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. Yeah, no, I like Juwan Jennings. I'm glad he got mixed in this year, and it was. I loved it. It's I really liked Kendrick Bourne. I liked Kendrick Bourne, and it's a shame that he was gone, and same thing. Got to get your money, So see what happens, man.
The one thing with Kendrick Bourne was when he was in the red zone, he was money, but he would always have that energy to dance. That dude was like always dancing, happy, smiling, kind of like a Heinz Ward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I said, I mean, the 49ers do a really good job in getting players that are going to mesh with the team and, just keeping things quiet, So, I mean, like I said, I think, we have a good team, I'm not worried about it. We can't win Super Bowls every year. I mean, in reality, we can't win them every year. I enjoy I'm one of those guys that's like, hey man, we get to the playoffs, cool, respectable team, whatever. I don't let the trolls bother me when it comes to different things, but I'm grateful that we, were able to secure a guy like Jimmy. Unfortunately, he played, 2 years total, probably in the 4 years, but those 2 years we had good seasons, and like I said, I'll always respect the guy, man. I'll never ever, dump on him. I don't dump on anybody. I don't dump on any of the players. You know what I mean? People are human. Like Jalen Hurd, man. Some people just don't come back from ACLs. Some people just don't.
They don't come back the same. They lack the explosiveness, and you can tell from right there and all that. So, I like this question by I guess he liked your tattoo that you had.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, I'll definitely pay attention to what Corey was saying. 49ersCast, who has the best receiver core out of the NFC West? Also, 1 to 4.
Man, that's crazy, dude. Well, because I mean, I mean, it's hard because it's like we run such a different scheme, so a lot of it is, and again, with Trey Lance, you don't know what he can bring out of our receiving core. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing we can go off of is what's Jimmy G. Do we have a solid receiving core? Of course we do. Were we burning teams downfield 40, 50 yards? No. I mean, that just wasn't the playbook. I mean, whether it was Jimmy couldn't do it or just Shanahan didn't do it, I don't know. But I mean, now Russell Wilson's not with Seattle. So who knows what these guys can do? Lockett, DK Metcalf, who knows what these guys could do? So, I'm going to say right now, I mean, I'm going to say right now, I got to give it to the Rams until it's proven otherwise by San Francisco. And I personally think with Trey Lance, we can make a run against the Rams for a receiving core.
Yeah, it's kind of like tough to say the Rams are not number one because they got really good receivers.
Yeah.
Where I put my rankings at, if you check out the NFC West Network, I did put the Niners at number 3 because I was just keeping it realistic because I've seen what I've seen. But then Seattle, like you said, the quarterback can be the issue, and that's why I put them last because I think if you put their 2 best receivers, of course, they're probably the best duo by far. But you go by depth chart, I just put them last.
Yeah, you have to. And I mean, if you want to talk about like athletic, I mean, you're definitely gonna, DK Metcalf's up there, D Hop's up there, Debo's up there, Ayuk is. I mean, the thing is, it's hard to break down divisions because they build themselves to mimic each other because those are very important games to win. So they want to be almost as equal and then not run the same plays, but you have to match. If somebody's going to get a defensive end, we got to get a good defensive end. If somebody gets a good receiver, we got to get a good receiver. So you have to match these teams because those games are important. Winning those 6 games are very important to win. So you have to match your team. Some teams don't have that luxury. Fortunately, the NFC West, those teams, they make a lot of money, and they're able to, they draft really well or not draft, but they sign, they know how to get players, man.
Yeah, they do. And they definitely go by the best talent. Like you look at Arizona, the way they're developing the receivers, they got a guy like Hopkins who they got for the Texans for a really good deal. They stole them. And Hollywood Brown, they gave up a first round for this guy because there's that chemistry between him and Kyler Murray, so that makes a lot of sense. That could be a scary duel right there. You look at the Rams, Stafford, and if you include OBJ coming back, the Rams are damn scary good. It's like I hate to say it, but yeah, you look at the Rams, they got a lot of number 1 receivers out there. So that's why I would put them at number 1 because you got a lot of those other guys who can easily be number 1s elsewhere.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, OBJ, I know he messed up his ACL again, I think in the Super Bowl. So, that's one thing you got to see how this guy how he responds. But, those, like I said, that, so it's really, it's really hard. But they're, I think even, a lot of people look at kind of Seattle like, okay, cool, Wilson's gone. But I'll tell you what, man, Pete Carroll scares me. That dude just scares me. He can just kind of get anybody and he's like, all right, cool. Like, but he scares me, man. Give him some time to work with somebody. I know with Russell Wilson out last season, Geno Smith kind of wasn't really there, but I'll tell you what, for some odd reason, when Drew Lock, when he came out, got drafted, I really liked him. I don't know why. There's something about him, and I'm kind of interested to see what Pete Carroll can do with him. Interested to see.
Especially the guy who celebrated on the 4th quarter touchdown when they lost. Like, that's got to be exciting, right? But
oh man. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but speaking of this one stands out for me on this question for you. So, since we didn't bring back Jaquaski Tart, do you really feel that Tolihuno Hufunga will play better for the 49ers this year?
He's been, every year, they're gonna, he gets better. He's excited. He's, working with Ward. He's worked with Palomalu, in the off season. I think they're related in some way. I think they're like cousins or something. But, I don't see why not. I mean, we have, D'Amico Ryans is a really good, defensive coordinator. I think, he understands his assignment. He's, he's super excited to get out there, and I'm excited to see him compete, man. I mean, who do we got that's competing against them? Is it there's Odom? No, Odom will probably be on special teams though, more than likely, right?
We got Moore that came off an injury.
Yeah, Moore, and then but Odom, I think he's going to be more of a special teams guy, right? From what I'm gathering. Yeah. But I mean, even that, so. But I think he knows his assignment, man. I mean, especially, he's, when you get a chance to do things like he did last season, especially recovering that touchdown in Green Bay, those things like that, man, boost your confidence, man. It does something to you. Like, you feel a part of the team. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like, that you're just, hey, man, like, I helped save the day, like the block punt, things like that. And it's super exciting. I'm really excited for that guy. I can't wait. We need, ever since I've watched Troy Polamalu, I've always wished the 49ers would have a player like that. And I'm hoping that he's at least even, 30% of Troy Polamalu, and I would be happy.
Yeah. I want him to at least have the ability to make some game-changing plays, which he did on that playoff game where he got the punt, that block punt, and returned it for a touchdown, which was pretty cool. So it's like, you definitely like what you see out of the kid. Maybe they felt confident with him, but then we just added a couple of pieces. So we might have added some couple of safeties, and that's why Jaquan Qatar didn't come back. So it's like, it's crazy, It's like, hey, if we really like what we see out of Hufanga, this kid's a 5th-round pick, and we really have high hopes on this guy. So it speaks volume. And John Lynch and everybody in the front office really like this kid's energy.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, he just has to play smart, just be smart, keep your head on a swivel, just watch I don't know as far as tackling. I don't know if he's, remember when Eric Reed first came to the league, and he was just
he was
helmet to helmet, and
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at that, so, he doesn't look like that kind of type of guy, but he looks like he's going to play smart. This guy wants the ball, that's probably the only thing that worries me, as long as he doesn't overcommit to trying to get picks consistently, just stop the play, when it's time to get your pick, but I mean, just like you said, energy, man, just out there, I feel this guy's going to be all over the place. I feel he's got a good nose for the ball. And I feel he's going to be, I think he'll overcompensate a couple of times and get burnt, and that's how you learn, and if he's in there full time, he's going to figure it out. Jimmy Ward's got his back, and he's going to let him know, hey, kid, let's do this or let's do that, so, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, that's true. So I'll give you 2 last questions, and we'll end it from here. We'll give you like 49ers strength and weakness. So we'll give you like 2 of our strengths and 2 of our weakness that you feel about the positions.
Well, I'm gonna say our O-line right now. Because we just don't know what's going on. We lost, Tomlinson, so that's a big one. So I'm gonna say O-line. You said 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses?
Yeah.
Okay, so O-line, and then that's tough, man. The second one's gonna be tough right now because they boosted up the DBs, so that's gonna be tough. I'm gonna go. I mean, even though we got Ray McLeod and we still don't know, we still don't know about our. I'm gonna say our special teams when it comes to kickoffs and things like that, and punt returns. Like, I'm gonna go with punt return right now, and then and then definite strengths is definitely our D line, of course, and definitely I think even with Trey Lance in there, not knowing as much as like what he's capable of doing, I think our strength. I think one of our better strengths is going to be our QB as well, getting that ball into our receivers' hands.
Yeah, definitely. So here's this last question, and this part will be an interesting one. This is a good take right here. 49ersCast, what rookie on the 49ers might have a breakout season?
I'm gonna say, man, like I'm gonna say that one's a tough one. That one's a tough one because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think who's going to be out there starting as a rookie. I mean, because if you think about it, the only one, I personally think. I mean, I'm gonna have to go with our second round pick, and that's Drake Jackson. That's what I think. I think he has every tool available to him. He cannot come into any better situation than the 49ers and have a great first year. If he can get, Boza and him, I mean, even Boza said, I wasn't even like that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Boza really praised this guy. And if you want to talk about somebody that knows football, it's the Boza family. Like these guys know football. You know what I'm saying? Not just Joey, not just Nick, but his dad. Like that is a football family. And when I heard Nick say something like that, I was like, whoa, I think he's going to surprise people. I think that defensive line is going to surprise people, and I'm hoping he brings same thing like I expect. Huff. I hope Drake Jackson can bring 30% of D Ford in him. Because I loved D Ford, man. He was that catalyst of that defensive line when he was healthy and in there. That guy made things happen. You know what I mean? He opened the door for a lot of people, and that's what I'm hoping Drake Jackson can bring.
Yeah. I agree with you on Drake Jackson because he's in a better situation. He can definitely come into the rotation, and I can see him register between 4 to 6 sacks, which is solid for our rookie season because we're not going to expect much of them to be starters. So, like, you look at our offensive line that we drafted, these guys are more likely going to either develop for next year. And then you look at Danny Gray. Danny Gray may be the closest second because he might get some significant play time and he might have a role to catch some deep passes from Trey. So that might be the one guy to be a little bit of a sleeper maybe. But Ty Davis Price is like the one that was head scratching for me for a little bit. But then I'm starting to realize that, hey, our running backs do get injured. So maybe you might see some significant role for Ty Davis Price. So that would be like the closest one. But yeah, I agree. Drake Jackson could be the guy because, I mean, he definitely will be. Do we have like a good defensive line? Like, look at the guys we got. They can definitely start elsewhere. Komodo Toure, that guy could be a steal because the injury from Indianapolis, but he still produce. He can definitely be good on the rotation.
Yeah, I mean, that defensive line is something else, man. I mean, it's the depth, the way they rotate in and out. And they're just, definitely, I'm definitely going to miss DJ Jones, but Amenahu, Bucam, like all those guys are just always out there showing up and doing what they got to do, and then you got Fred Warner, Greenlaw, the only scary thing about all this stuff that is, the 49ers, it's time, they gotta win something, and I'm not saying their window's closing, but I think is Greenlaw up for is his contract up? Is this after this season? Same with
it should be. Yeah, their contracts are going to be up.
Yeah. So man, these guys are going to get paid, man. And granted, if Jimmy gets cut, which I'm sure he is, we'll have some, extra money, and that's what they're going to be looking at. Boza, we picked up his 5th year, but it does get a little anxious because it's like, man, I don't want it to get back into that revolving stage again where we have to rebuild our team again. It is time. I was really hoping, man, when we got into that NFC Championship game, man, I really believed we were going to go on to the Super Bowl and win. I felt that 75 patch had a significance to the 94-95 season. When they put that patch on and, we won it all the way. I really felt I was like, this is a sign, dude, we're going to win the championship,
This was like the underdog mentality. Like this was like the vibes of those 2007 Giants or those type seasons, or the 2010 Packers where they were coming off injuries and playing terrible in the early season. Then they turned it around. It felt like that. Like we were the underdogs that nobody wanted to give us a chance, and we came to play. We were spoilers.
And I had no doubt. The 49ers are a playoff team. They get in there, they get deep. And I was just, it's like there's a lot of, and then there's a lot of luck, and then there's a lot of this, and but either way, I'm just glad that we got there, and I was kind of like, come on, man, like let's we got to get this, man. I was really pulling for Jimmy, and knowing probably it was gonna be his last season, and You know, it'd have been a great fairy tale ending, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just, you know, it would have been good for Lance. It would have just been an amazing fairy tale story. Just like 2019 would have, you know, coming off an ACL and winning a Super Bowl, you know, like so. But it is what it is, man. I'm just blessed that I get to see my Niners, you know.
for sure, man. Like
So
it's one of those seasons, man. But yeah, dude. Thank you for your time, man. I
hey
definitely
man, anytime.
appreciate
Thank
you.
you. I
And
appreciate it, man.
it's a great, yeah, dude. It was really great. Maybe down the road we'll definitely need to catch up, man. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
for
it's
sure.
yeah. For anybody else who hasn't checked out your channel, man, tell them where they can find you again.
49ers Cast on YouTube. You know, I know there's a, there's a YouTube channel called the same that I didn't realize until later on, but it's a Spanish one. That's not mine. So, but you'll see my little character on there, the little drawn character. So, yep, 49ers Cast with Van Wesley.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All
So
right,
we'll
man.
definitely catch up someday, man.
Excellent. Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro. You have a good one, man.
You too, bro.
All
As
right, later,
always,
guys.
CG Ruthless Sports and 49er Cast is out. And see you guys later. Peace.